So we have made it to the last and final part of this 3-part series of my dance journey all the way to where I am right now. Now finally on to the very last part. If you haven't seen the first 2 parts, make sure to click right over here or wherever that suggestion bubble is and watch those first 2 before jumping into this one. And also, just like the other 2, there's not going to be too much going on visually, so feel free to minimize this, listen to it podcast style, and yeah, we'll get into the entire thing right now. Quick recap. I worked for Disneyland for 6 months, came back home to New York, started up Sandbox NYC, had a couple of gigs here and there which were really fun, took Give and Take, which helped me learn all this stuff, performed with Mod Fam, and helped make this brand new set that was super fun and super different. And of course, also I have my full-time job still going on. Here it is. Here's how it went down. After numerous pros and cons lists, talking to my friends and family, just pretty much doing everything you can do before a big decision. In early March, I was finally able to tell my manager that I was gonna quit. And I gave him a 1-month notice on top of the 2-week notice, just because honestly he was really cool and I didn't want to do the team dirty like that. Really, there was no reason why I couldn't tell him as early as possible once I made the decision. Communication. So how, why, what are the reasons that you left your job, James? How did you finally make the decision to leave your full-time job? And how could you go on knowing that you weren't going to be another starving artist, that you weren't going to be homeless and starving and all that good stuff? A couple of reasons why I felt like I could finally make the decision. And also reasons that may be applicable to you if you're thinking about either switching jobs or changing into a new career path. First thing, my original goals when I went into my first corporate job was to 1, just get corporate experience because I never had one, and 2, collect my coins so that I'd be able to move on and actually do what I wanted to do, which at the time I didn't really know what that was, but I knew it wasn't always going to be that job forever. And both of those things, gathering experience and collecting my coins, I felt like I completed both of those after about 8-9 months of time. Second thing, after Give and Take, after a couple of small gigs that I did previously, even helping choreograph that Mod Fam set for Sayao, the confidence in myself with the ability to create was definitely pretty high. And I'm not saying it was super cocky, super crazy energy, but more that I finally felt comfortable knowing how much work I actually put into refining myself as a dancer and a choreographer. Really, I knew that I was at a level where I could begin to start monetizing dancing and my choreography skills at a level that could actually sustain me and sustain my cost of living. On top of that, I was also making an increasing amount of money through my side hustles, which was primarily through graphic design. At this point in time, I was finally ready to convert all of these classes and workshops and life experiences and all of that stuff and actually convert it into essentially money. And note, of course, you don't have to monetize your passions, your talents, whatever. Like, those are for you, of course. But on the flip side, if you have something to offer, don't feel afraid to actually start charging for it, to say that this is my literal worth in these areas. Be confident in the abilities that you've polished over the years, because yeah, they're real things that have real worth, and if people want to pay for your services or your talents or whatever you're up to, then yeah, you should be charging for what you have. And the third thing, and probably the biggest reason why I flipped over my decision to go from corporate over into dance, I was at a point where I was valuing time over money. So for transparency, at my old job, I was making a little bit over 25 bucks per hour. And of course, with taxes and all these other things on top of that. I knew that after I got out of the office, I had to invest my time and my energy into something that could generate way more than just 25 bucks per hour. So before quitting, I did my research, right? I was reading a ton of books, watching and listening to a bunch of different, career coaches / entrepreneurial things. Of course, don't get too caught up because a lot of it can be really fluffy and just pumping you up. But I dissected a lot of it to just make sure I was taking the realness out of what I was listening to and absorbing. An important book that I read was Real Artists Don't Starve by Jeff Goins, and also following and listening the essentially business coaching steps of Vanessa Lau, who herself at the time was also this rising entrepreneur business coach that just quit her 9 to 5, at least when I started listening to her and, you know, following her journey with quitting her 9 to 5 job. I knew that I could convert that time and energy that I had and turn it into furthering my passion and also generating income. For me, opportunities were investments, and those opportunities weren't gonna come if I was spending pretty much more than half of my day and way more than half of my energy just sitting at a desk 9 to 5, 5 days a week. I was prepared to treat my time outside of the office as essentially a new full-time job, like multiple full-time jobs. Outside of corporate life, I knew that once I left, my time would be spread out between Sandbox, organizing it, teaching, still taking class. I wanted to work out at the gym and have a certain physique so I could be casted for certain roles. I was gonna do intensives. I was gonna connect with different people in the community and outside of the community. I was gonna polish the styles that I know now and also go out of my way to make sure I'm well-rounded and know all these other different styles too, at least at a basic level. And finally, on top of that, all of these things would combine to essentially package myself as this brand, this dancer, this choreographer, creative coach, all of that. So if you're thinking that you want to quit your 9 to 5 just because it's too much work, then you're gonna realize that once you're out, that life is way, way harder. So because I set these goals, because I knew that I was ready to work hard and spend extra time, labor, and even put in my own money that I collected towards this new goal that I had, I was ready. I had a certain amount of knowledge to get started. I had a certain amount of money saved up to get it moving. I was ready to just get out of there and get things in motion. And then adding on extraneous factors like the team at the office is going under some reorganization. The manager that I liked was leaving too. Some of my homies on the desk were being promoted to a different office or just moving on to going to grad school, just different things, life, period. These were all signs for me that I was ready to make moves. So on March 31st, 2019, I officially quit my job and started my life as a self-proclaimed dancer, choreographer, and just professional creative. And let me tell you, for about 2 weeks, life was freaking amazing. I had all the time in the world now. I wasn't doing tasks that I thought were kind of trivial and just draining energy out of me every day. I felt the gears just turning creatively and physically too, like I was moving. Freedom never felt so good. And then it didn't. Just like life post-college, the magic of life post-job just wore off very, very quickly. I was essentially unemployed. And just because I said I was gonna be a full-time dancer and choreographer didn't actually mean I was making money right off the spot. Saying I was a professional dancer and choreographer literally means nothing if I don't book anything, if I don't generate any income from dance, if I just have these ideas and wanna go creatively, but aren't actually producing anything that will generate me an income that can sustain my new way of life. So I had to take a quick step back, get back to the drawing board, reevaluate my skills. A step back that I knew I had to make in order to reevaluate my worth and the actual specific skills that I could leverage in order to make a sustainable income. So goals I had. And so for all of these goals, it's important to make sure that they are SMART goals. Essentially goals that were able to hit a certain amount of criteria, such as being attainable and being timely. So before anything, right, I was doing even more research. I was reading a ton of books. I was listening to a bunch of podcasts. I was following a bunch of different people online, on YouTube, in the dance world, in the dance space, that were already doing the things that I wanted to do. And at the same time, I was throwing myself into pretty much every single audition that I could find and that I was fit for, every agency audition I could find, every hip-hop audition, even just random gigs on the side, everything and anything at this point. Things are moving slow and steady, progress is being made. It was dope. But then things went freaking astro. And in April of 2019, through the power of luck and timing and friendship, I booked the biggest gig that I've done so far to this day, which was background dancing for BTS at their MetLife stop for their world tour. So here's the thing, this was actually my second time performing with BTS the first time being their City Field performance stop of their world tour in New York, which was also booked through the power of timing, luck, and friendship. But honestly, this time was a totally different experience because of the structure of rehearsals and the responsibility that the directors and the choreographers and just the Korean dancers gave us, the local team. I felt like we weren't just performance mercenaries for a day. I felt like we were a legit part of the show. So in the following month of May, I was able to get down with a bunch of homies, old and new, and had one of the best 2 nights, best weekends of my entire life. And in that moment of just being on stage in the stadium, being backstage with my homies, I thought that this was what it was finally all about. Not necessarily booking tours or working with these famous people or even being out on such a big venue or whatever. It was really this feeling of being able to do what you loved with people that you care about at a level that is impactful, that actually means something to people beyond yourself. It was creating a sincere exchange of energy, of life experience, of connection that I didn't really think was possible up until that moment. So this stepping stone, this gig pushed me up. Now there was no doubt in my mind that I could do dance as a living, that at least at that point in time, that I was ready to do anything. Legit, like imagine if I, a community dancer that had no dance experience up until pretty much late high school into college, could dance with the biggest K-pop group pretty much ever in the history of K-pop and pretty much in the history of music, and do that with 20 of my dopest homies who have all come from the community too. And on top of that, just connect with all these different Korean dancers and industry people from the other side of the world and perform at freaking MetLife Stadium, like the stadium. There was literally no cap. Okay, but now here's a careful distinction, especially for people who are thinking about quitting their job or switching their job to do their passions, dance, creative, whatever. So Mark Choi, also known as Casper Choi, he's a veteran from our local community, pretty much based out of New Jersey. He's gone on to do a bunch of dope things like be a part of Tribe, perform with the Jabberwockies, all this really dope stuff. Again, that's crazy to think about, being born and raised out of the community. We were just exchanging and talking about all these experiences that we had, and he told me something really important. And so at Level Up 2019, he told me to just be careful of chasing that feeling of being on stage, that adrenaline rush, literally just being caught up in all of those feels. Like, yes, it's dope, it's amazing, it's a once in a lifetime sort of a feeling that just swells up inside you, but it's not the end, and it can't be the end goal all the time. Because you'll never get your fix, you'll never actually feel satisfied with where you are as a dancer, as just an individual. And yeah, I'm super grateful that he told me this, because otherwise maybe I'd still be trying to chase this feeling and just always feel down about myself whenever I couldn't book something, or always have this urge to get this fix of being on stage and having to do all this stuff. Because after some just self-reflection, really it's not about making money, and it's not about chasing this feeling of being on stage and performing and all that even. Really, I just wanted to create. I just wanted to dance, period. I wanted to be with homies that I cared about and do what we love doing for each other, connect with one another. That is literally all I wanted to do. And yeah, it sounds super cheesy, and I'm sure other people have said the same thing in the form of just saying community. But honestly, that's all I've really wanted to do, was get my dancing to a level where I could treat it as a language, where I could use it to communicate with myself, right? To express myself as a person, but also connect with other people in other parts of the world and other communities who utilize dance in their own ways. During Level Up and after Level Up, my friend Kai was also pumping me up pretty hard, reassuring me that I could do dance, that I was also ready, that all I had to do was continue to work hard, focus up, and be patient with the process. At the end of the day, I knew that all I really had to do was just keep it real with myself, keep it real with the people around me, and just straight up work hard. And so all of these things, Sandbox, California, Disneyland, BTS, talking with friends, all these things have led to where I am now, honestly, not just as a dancer, but as a person. I want to continue to lead Sandbox as a place that's not just offering classes or whatever. It's really for the community. It's for building up the community and giving opportunities to those who want them, to those who deserve them, really. I want to continue to collaborate on projects, whether that's graphic design or dance or choreography, whatever. You know, already doing it with Beyond Babel and Building Block and Hideaway Circus and different dancers on the West Coast and the East Coast. It's just so dope because it's really just a way to connect and meet new people and share experiences that you didn't know were out there. And I want to continue to build myself as a person. Not really this brand or this dancer, this choreographer, because none of us are one-dimensional like that. It's keeping in check who I want to be in the future, but also keeping in check who I am as a person just right now. Adjusting my sails to go towards the goals, towards the visions, towards this path that I have decided for myself. Going in a direction where I hope that one day I'll be able to make an impact in some sort of meaningful way. I'm not the richest guy in the world right now, and I'm not the poorest guy either. I'm not the dopest dancer in the world by a long shot, but you know, I'm working on it. And that's cool with me because I know that eventually, after just working hard, putting myself out there and putting in the work, that all these things will come in time. I really hope that I can see you guys also doing you and being in a spot in your life that you feel like is just completely driven by you and no one else. A life that's just genuine to you and to who you are, your purpose, your platform, whatever it might be. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed all 3 parts. Of course, there's way more to these stories. There's all these details, just a whole lot of other things that just can't be packed into even 3 videos. So as always, feel free to leave a comment down below about any questions. Hit me up personally, either on Instagram, through the comments, whatever. I'll go through and read all of them. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for even more content. I'm going to be pumping out more things, more how-tos, more resources, more stories if you guys want, for you guys as dancers, as choreographers, as people. And definitely leave a comment down below letting me know and others know where you are in the process. If you're in your job right now, if you're going into it, if you just quit, if you're starting up this new life as a dancer, choreographer, creative, wherever you're at, then yeah, just let me know. Special thank you to all the people who have supported me and just have been a part of the process this entire time. All the people who have impacted me. A lot of people who may not even know how much of an impact they've made on me as a person. So legit, thank you. Anyways, yes, this video, lots of cheese, lots of good stuff, lots of whatever stuff. I don't know, I'm just talking about whatever. Anyways, yeah, let's make it happen wherever you're at. Make it happen. Everything's doable. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Peace.